right, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of What on Earth. And today we are going to be talking about Russia. There is surprisingly a lot that refers to Russia in the biblical narrative, and even Russia's current movements as of 2022 are actually extremely biblical. I don't know how far I'll be able to get with this episode because there's just so much in the Bible about Russia specifically. A lot. And so we could probably do several episodes about Russia. But anyway, let's maybe just focus on what is current, which is the war in Ukraine. Is there anything relevant about Russia's war in Ukraine at the moment that aligns scripturally? And the answer is 100% yes. So let's get into it. If you read in the Bible, Ezekiel chapter 38, the whole chapter is relevant, and it even goes into chapter 39. There's, again, just so much just in one chapter. So I'm going to really try and discipline myself and stick to maybe the first 9 verses or so. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, This is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, O Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen, fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets. Also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops. The many nations with you. Get ready, be prepared, you and all the hordes gathered about you, and take command of them. After many days you will be called to arms. In future years you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They had been brought out from the nations, and now all of them live in safety. You and all your troops and the many nations with you will go up, advancing like a storm. You will be like a cloud covering the land. So let's stop there for now. Just those last few verses show that Israel was previously, how does it say here? The people who were gathered from many nations. In other words, they weren't there, but as we know, 1948, many Jews started to come from nations all around the world back to the land of Israel. And if you read previously in Ezekiel 37, it actually speaks about a valley of dry bones, speaking about Israel that was completely, the Jewish people were completely desolate and removed from their land for almost 2,000 years, and God has restored them back to their land. So that's exactly what we see. Israel back in the land, and they came out from many nations, and at the moment they're one of the most prosperous nations on the world stage, and difficult to say that they live in peace at the moment because they're under threat almost every day. So there's going to still come a moment, probably in the next few years, where there will be a peace agreement, and they will actually have peace. Peace in this world anyway. But let's just go back a few verses. It speaks about Gog of the land of Magog. So Gog is just a term for a ruler, a king or a ruler. So the word we really need to look at there is the land of Magog. Now the land of Magog is modern day Russia. I don't want to put up my map too soon because we want to see what is the current situation today and how does it relate into the biblical narrative. So I want to show you something just in a few moments. So the land of Magog is Russia. Meshech and Tubal is also north of Israel, heading up towards Russia, somewhere around Armenia, Georgia area, that little strip between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. And it's interesting that the Bible actually says God himself, the creator, will put a hook in the jaws of Gog. And he will say, come, it is in my purpose. You have to come to Israel. All right, Russia is going to come to Israel. It's going to happen. With a massive army. And what's interesting is that Persia is that section, modern day Iraq, Iran. Kush is the upper region of the Nile, so it's coming from Egypt. Put is Libya, if you read certain versions of the Bible, Libya. And then we come to Gomer and Beth Togarmah. Now, this is where I want to focus on a little bit today, but just take note there in verse 8, verse 7, it says, bring all your hordes gathered with you and take command of them. So Gog is going to take command of armies. All right. So very, very key words that's in the biblical narrative. So first, let's look at some maps. There are many maps. If you go look on, go do your own research. Many times when you see Magog, Togarmah, Meshech, Tubal, they put them all in modern day Turkey. See, even here, this one here, it's got a little speech bubble for Gomer being towards the northwest of Turkey. But the reality is, and I like this map, it doesn't have Beth Togarmah here, but Beth Togarmah is roughly this area between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. But you'll see Gomer is listed both on the south of the Black Sea as well as the north of the Black Sea. All right. Now, what do we see happening with Russia's war today? Where are they busy warring at the moment? Where is my map? Right, there we go there. Russia is warring in Ukraine at the moment. This is where there is a lot of war going on. Now, interesting, I should have mentioned already, Gomer is actually a location, but also the name of a grandson of Noah after the flood. Now, what we find is that Noah landed somewhere here. The Ark of Noah landed on the west edge of modern-day Turkey in the mountains of Ararat. And just out of curiosity, Noah's Ark has actually been legitimately located. Okay, we can no longer debate if it's just a fairy tale story. Excuse me. It is a very real story. The biblical flood narrative has been completely and 100% verified and proven. The Turkish government, who are Muslim, essentially, have completely confirmed that Noah's Ark has been located. Excuse me, a little tickle in my throat. And that's perhaps something else for another day. But anyway, they landed here roughly in the mountains of Ararat of western Turkey, and Noah and his sons got off the ark. And if you read the biblical narrative in Genesis 8 or 9, I forget right now, it says that Gomer traveled north. All right. And so what we see from the biblical narrative is that Gomer and his descendants moved up through modern-day Georgia into the south of Russia and they pretty much settled around this edge of the Black Sea, even moving to the north of the Black Sea. Right. And so we can trace through the biblical narrative that Gomer, at least some of Gomer, definitely settled in modern day Ukraine. Okay, the Ukrainians are direct descendants from the grandson of Noah. And again, so we see this movement currently from Russia warring in Ukraine. I just find that the current situation is really, even in the last few days, okay, with Russia annexing 4 regions of Ukraine, claiming it as part of Russia, and automatically starting to conscript people to the army, the Russian army. Okay, now isn't that interesting that the Bible actually says that Gog, the ruler of Magog, will take command, will seize command of an army and call them to arms. So this is pretty much what we are seeing right now happening today, is this preparation for a Magog war against Israel. Right. And so don't set aside this war in Ukraine as some arbitrary random war. It is very, very biblical. Very biblical indeed. And what we are going to see as a result of this, and then again, he's going to come via Beth Togarmah, which is now via this Georgian Armenia channel between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. And when he comes against Israel, he's going to come with Turkey. He's going to come with Iraq/Iran. And he's going to come with some of Egypt and some of Libya. And all of these forces are going to come together to attack Israel. Maybe I'll just leave it there for today. Because again, like I say, there is just much, much, much more to be said about Russia. As I've already said, the war in Ukraine is not arbitrary. It is very much on God's biblical foresight. He knew it was going to happen, and it is happening on purpose because Russia will eventually come down to Israel. And I'm not sure that it's going to be Putin at that stage. Okay, it could very well be, he's fit and strong. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be much insurrection in Russia against him. But so there's a lot more to be said about Israel specifically, and I'll probably keep that for another session. So come back again, and we will chat a bit more about Russia in a biblical narrative in our day and age. So God bless. Hope you have a fabulous day further.